What do you think the pandemic has taught us about leadership over these past 18 months? What are some of those things that we need to continue doing that we've learned and maybe stop doing, and some things that we might have to do differently as we keep moving forward?
Well, I think the pandemic has taught us a lot of things and given us a lot to think about. And I've got a lot of thoughts, and there's a lot in the question you asked. So let me just parse out a few of my thoughts here. First of all, I think the pandemic globally has proven how resilient we are as a people, number one. But as a healthcare profession, I think resiliency, we've learned that we can be resilient. We've also learned that we've got to pay great attention to that, though, because not everyone has the same capacity for resiliency. And being able to invest in our people to help them, I think, is very, very important. The pandemic time has raised so much in society. I mean, diversity, equity, inclusion has elevated in terms of our consciousness and our awareness to that. And I think, we will be a better society when we pay more attention to all that's raised. So, I try and find some of the silver linings through all of this. And I do think we will be better from that diversity, equity, inclusion. But again, we've got to pay attention to it. I think there's some things, pandemic or not, that in Canada, I think we can stop doing. And one is making things more complex than they need be. And when we think about, years and years of studying some of the things that don't go where they should go. So all of we've got a major issue with something, and so we will dedicate money to study that. When if you put 10 healthcare leaders in a room, they would tell you, the problem is this, and here are 10 potential solutions. Let's get out and work on it. Give us a 500-page document with so much that it goes nowhere. Again, Everything is a priority, nothing is. So I think we complicate things. I think we need to be more action-oriented and simplify what I know is the very complex. So I think we can stop doing some of that. I think we can also start paying a lot more attention to leadership development and paying a lot of attention to our people and our workforce issues. We have to. In order to sustain, we do have to start looking at different models of care and how we utilize the precious resource of our people. And there are things that we know work that we should continue doing. And a lot of those I've raised here, some of these evidence-based practices, I think rewarding and recognition in an organization goes so far, and we don't do it enough. We are clinicians who come in to look for the problems and identify the problems and get on with it. Every time we start meetings, we start with wins. Tell me what's working well. We need to celebrate more our successes in healthcare. That's a start doing or do more of, I guess. But I've not talked at all about the full continuum in long-term care. God help us. We need to do something, and we need to do it critically, and we need to do things differently. And we can't wait for reports. We just need to get out there and do it. And I know much is happening, and I'm grateful for that.
Those are such great insights. It's so true. It's getting practical and doing the work rather than putting another paper together, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And speaking about resilience, you mentioned, we've learned so much about how resilient we are. And I was having a conversation with another HR leader who's worried about his staff. He says they wear it like a badge of honor. How do we draw that line between being resilient versus now it's impacting our work, it's impacting our life?
Yeah, that is a tough one. And I do think the most important relationship that we have within any organization is the leader with their direct report. That relationship is critical. In everything that we coach, the first thing we start with is personal connection. And so for those who report to me, and for me with my direct leader, having a very transparent and open environment for communication, I think is critical here. We're not going to do it with an environmental big bang, call this number if you feel you're losing resilience. This, I think, comes back to being a very personal, we often would see a few questions that you can ask to know if you've got a healthy environment at work. One of those is, there's somebody who cares about you at work. We hope that that's your leader, and that in times like that, you've got the ability to have that very honest and transparent, difficult conversation, because your leader needs you to produce, and I just don't have it anymore to give. So I think it comes down to that.